It seems like just yesterday I was sitting on my couch with concrete floors because we had just experienced a busted kitchen pipe that ruined my home, screaming over the France-Argentina final. Still to this day, one of the most exciting sporting events I've ever watched. Of course, talking about the FIFA Men's World Cup. And prior to that World Cup, I did a preview with the one, the only Brett Gosnell. So guess who I have on today to talk about this upcoming World Cup? Mr. Brett Gosnell. Welcome back to Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers. I am your host, Brandon Silvers. Brett, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm beyond excited for this. Any World Cup's amazing when it's at home. It's just indescribable.
Yes, and we're going to get into some players to watch. We'll get into some Team USA analysis. But first, as you mentioned, we are one of the host nations here in the good old US of A, along with Canada and Mexico. And there are some changes to this World Cup. Most notably, I would say the expansion from 48 to 48 teams from 32 teams. How do you feel about that? Because that's just kind of how we do with all of sports now, it feels like.
In general, I don't like the like you say, there's a trend in all of sports that things are just expanding. And in general, I don't like it. There needs to be some challenge to get, to the finals or the playoffs or whatever it is, or else it waters down the product on the front end, which is we're probably going to start seeing with college football. We've already seen it with the NCAA tournament in basketball, But as a fan of a soccer team that's not that great, it's kind of it's hard to complain because, we should always make the World Cup because our qualifying geographic area is so easy. But if we were in a tougher division or in a tougher continent, we would have a tougher time qualifying. So you're getting more of those teams in now. So, I don't feel like I have a huge leg to stand on to say we shouldn't expand.
Some of the mid-tier SEC country teams, I get that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah,
like everyone is like, how far can we expand this and still leave out the Gamecocks of the world? That's where we're at. So
what's crazy is Italy still continues to fail to make it, which is just shocking. I mean, the first World Cup I really followed, Italy won it, and they're historically, one of the best nations ever, and they've missed 2 in a row now.
Jeez. What's the college football comp for Italy?
Nebraska.
I like that.
Yeah. I don't know, but it's weird because they won the Euros like not long ago.
I thought so. Spoiler alert for everyone who's just tuning in for the first time. Brett, much more knowledgeable about soccer than I am, but I do get locked in with the World Cups and major tournaments. But I thought that Italy had won the Euros in my memory, and so it is weird that they're not here. They just can't do it.
They missed a World Cup, which was a shock. Then they won the Euros, and it's like, okay, they're back. And then they missed the next World Cup.
Maybe they need like an espresso machine on the sideline, like the World Baseball Classic Italians.
Yeah, how about Italy baseball is outperforming Italy soccer on the international stage?
Does this make you my foreign policy expert for Beyond the Arc? Because we
might get into legit foreign policy shit here when we get in the U.S. preview.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, 48 teams. I don't know how everyone's going to pay attention to everything that's going on. A good start would be to go to brandonsilvers.com and subscribe to my newsletter, where every week I give you all the sporting events you need to watch. But what we're going to focus on, because what got me locked in, individual talent. And that was the final. Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi. How do you Do you do Lionel or Lionel?
I just say Leo.
Leo Messi. I should have done that. I flew too close to the sun. But Messi, obviously, they were part of great teams, but I like individual talent. I think that's easier for someone who is just getting into the sport. So we want to give y'all some players to watch. We are going to do a custom build roster led by Brett. He's going to give us everyone that we need to know. If you are watching on YouTube or Spotify, and Apple Podcast does video podcasts now as well, it will be on the screen. So, first of all, as our all-star roster manager, it appears you are going with a 4-3-3 formation. Why is that?
Pulling up my notes here. So a 4-3-3 is just standard. I mean, it's just like the most standard formation, honestly. Not really no other reason. This is the easiest way to get people on the screen.
Perfect. That's all you need.
Yeah.
All right. So where are we starting?
Let's start out of the back here. Let's start with the goalkeeper. All right. So I will say I'm giving my honest opinion on who I think are the best / most must-watch players at this World Cup. I do have 2 homer picks in here. Not U.S. players, but Aston Villa players. Been a Villa fan for about 15 years now, and finally seen them win their first ever trophy in my time as a fan. They won the Europa League the other day. So, fair warning, I'm going to have 2 of them guys in there, but they are deserving. And the first one is Emiliano Martinez, Emi Martinez. You mentioned the World Cup final last time, one of the best sporting events ever played. This man was right in the middle of it. He won the penalty shootout. He had the incredible kick save that let it get to penalties in the first place. France were down 3-1. Came back and tied it late and had a look for all the world like they scored the winner in stoppage time. And Emi Martinez made an ungodly kick save. So is he really the best goalkeeper in the world? Probably not. But when you play a World Cup final like he did, when you win the Europa League, he's a big game goalkeeper. He's clutch. He broke his finger in the training, in the pregame warm-ups for the Europa League, went out there and played anyway with a broke finger. So, yeah, this is my goalkeeper.
So I'm glad that you have picked him, because I do have a question, because I do remember him from last World Cup, and I also saw that he was injured. You told us how he got injured. I was curious if he had sustained the injury last World Cup when he was thrusting into the trophy that he won.
Yeah. He's a big shit talker. He was using the World Cup trophy as his own phallus last time. He's hilarious during penalty shootouts. He's always distracting the PK taker. Man, he's just, he's unfazed by whatever situation he's in.
That is a great pick, an amusing pick. Certainly, yeah, I would say, based on what I know, skill aside, just an entertaining watch. So,
yes.
Beautiful.
All right. So let's start across left to right, across the back here. Left back, we're going to go Nuno Mendes. So, Silvers, you actually saw this person play in person recently. I don't know if you noticed it or not, because he was on the field for about 5 minutes. But he plays for Portugal. He plays for PSG on the club side. And I should mention, obviously, Emi Martinez, Argentina. I didn't mention Argentina's goalkeeper, of course. But, yeah, Nuno Mendes, Portuguese, PSG left back. Just won the Champions League for the second year in a row. And, this is kind of a no-brainer. There's really not a whole lot of other left backs that I would say are on his level. maybe not an elite defender, but attacking wise, absolutely elite. Skilled enough to where he could probably play any position. Just I turned on that Champions League final, and you can just see like anytime he's on the ball, it's just clear how skilled he is. He just oozes quality.
Yeah, I don't recall him being in the Portugal game that we went to. We went to the friendly between Portugal and Team USA in Atlanta a couple months ago. But yeah, definitely the Champions League final. Seeing him out there, if I'm able to be like, hey, this guy is doing something a little bit different than everyone else, then he is certainly highly skilled.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like when he's on the ball, you can just tell. You can tell this guy's extremely skilled. He missed his PK, and that Champions League final went to a penalty shootout. He did miss his PK, but to me, the fact that a defender is even out as one of your top 5 penalty takers is pretty eye-opening.
It'd be like, in my mind, if you picked a center to shoot your technical foul free throws.
Yeah. So, sticking with that theme, another man who is a defender who missed his PK in the Champions League final. Left center back, we are going with Gabriel from Arsenal. So, I watched that Champions League final knowing we were going to do this show, and I'm trying to decide, make a call between a couple players who makes my final squad here. Gabriel wasn't on the list, and he totally played his way into it just from what I saw that day. He was phenomenal. He couldn't be beat one-on-one. He had, with how good PSG's attack is, he had several times where he had to make a panic, last-ditch effort, diving in the box, kind of stop, and he got it right every single time. That's so difficult to, pull a slide tackle off in the box because you're risking giving up a penalty. He did it multiple times just flawlessly. So, yeah, I have a ton of confidence in him. And, again, missed his PK, and he missed his badly. It wasn't saved. It was shot into the 20th row.
That's something we always talk about, like how you would take a PK. And I think we're both in agreement. If you are going to do any sort of stutter step, just don't even bother. Just don't even take the kick. Just tap the ball and move on, because I feel like that is the most common way. I don't know if it's like confirmation bias because it's so obvious, but I feel like that's the most common way I see people miss them, is just a bunch of cutesy bullshit.
Yeah. Mario Balotelli is the only one that ever could do that shit. He would get it right every time. He would make the keeper go one way. But anybody else that does that stutter step bullshit and tries to see where the keeper's going never works.
No. And remind me real quick, what country is he playing for again?
Brazil.
Okay.
Plays for Arsenal at the club level. Plays for Brazil at the World Cup. And fascinatingly enough, you probably know enough about soccer to have an idea of what Brazil is like in soccer. Known for their attack, known for vibrant attacking players all throughout their history, a lot of style, a lot of flair. But these days, they're producing world-class center backs more than anything else. And my other center back is going to be his center back partner for the Brazilian national team, and that's Marquinhos.
So I wonder, is that like a you're so good at one thing that maybe these are guys who weren't quite good enough to be attackers, and so they were forced into playing defense. But
yeah, that could be. I mean,
like as a response to their playing style. I don't know.
I could see that being the case for Marquinhos for sure, because Gabriel seems to be more of a classic defender. Size, a lot of bulk. Marquinhos is a smaller guy that dribbles and passes more. So I definitely could see that being the case for him for sure.
Yeah, because I don't think I can name a Brazilian soccer player that was not an attacker of some kind. So this is
right.
This is very interesting. But yes.
Yeah. So Marquinhos, PSG, we'll talk about them for just a second because they're such a fascinating story. So when I got into soccer in like 2012, basically, PSG had just got bought by, I think the Qataris, one of these, oil-rich countries. Their royal family owns the team, and they just poured money into it, just spending ungodly amounts of money. But it seemed like their reason for doing it was they wanted to buy the biggest names. It was like less about winning and more about just getting the biggest superstars. And so for, like 15 years, you'd watch PSG in the Champions League bombing out every time despite having Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Neymar, Messi, Mbappe. 2 years ago, they seemed to just drop this and they said, we're going to go get young, talented players. We're not going to care what their name is necessarily. We're going to load the team up with young, talented players. Immediately, they win 2 Champions Leagues in a row, just immediately. And that's right after Mbappe left. It's just – so the new plan is working. But Marquinhos, he's been there the whole time. What's interesting, he's been there since, I think, 2013. So he's seen it all. And he's finally got his well-deserved Champions League titles.
That's funny because I just did a Stanley Cup preview, and both of the teams, Carolina and Vegas, you would describe them, as my guest, Nick Fogel, told me, as teams without superstars, like household names. They were just kind of what you're saying, young talent. And then so maybe this is the way of the world for everyone except our Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah. Well, PSG has superstars, but they're young. They're like young, it's not like a 35-year-old Messi. You'd rather have a 23-year-old Ousmane Dembele, So sticking with PSG, if you win the Champions League, you're going to have a lot of all-star players. Right back, Achraf Hakimi plays for Morocco at the international level. Morocco was one of the darlings of the last World Cup. They made the Final Four, which was a shock. They've always been a pretty decent soccer nation, but they've really heavily invested in both men's and women's soccer there. Changed their structure a lot, poured a lot of money into it, and got immediate results at this last World Cup. And Achraf Hakimi is their best player.
So how much are they spending on soccer compared to us? And we're going to get to Team USA later, but when you
that's
Morocco,
a great question. I don't know. That's a great question. I can't imagine it's anywhere near what we spend. I hope it's not.
This is something this is a conversation we have about Gamecock sports all the time too, where it's like, surely we're outspending some of these teams that are making us look silly or having more success than we are.
Right.
And so,
yeah.
Shout out to the Moroccans. Way to go.
Yeah. Yep. So Hakimi is, this is probably our least debatable one of anything. He's definitely the best right back in the world. Good defender, but great attacker. Extremely fast, extremely good at getting up the sideline and putting in crosses. Just exactly what you want out of an offensive-minded right back. So our defense is totally set now. Now let's move up to our defensive center mid. This is kind of another easy call as well, if I can find him. There he is. Rodri. So this position is one of the more interesting positions on the field. It really should say CDM, center defensive mid. Also known as the number 6. This is a position that they're a midfielder, so they have the ball a lot, but they also defend a lot. They'll drop back in between these center backs and help out in the defense. They'll roam around and try to intercept passes. So they're responsible for a lot of defensive play, just helping out the center backs, trying to break things up before it gets to the center backs. If a fullback, one of Nuno Mendes or Hakimi, which they would be bombing up the sideline a lot, if they get out of position attacking, our center defensive mid would drop back and fill in their spots as well. So this is a position that has a lot of defensive responsibility, but they also can be like a point guard kind of as well, like distributing the ball, making long passes from the deep down in the field here, making long passes up top. So it's a balanced position too if the player's really good at it. And this guy here, Rodri, who plays for Spain and Manchester City, he is the best in the world.
Is this the position that I'm thinking of, like Michael Bradley?
Yeah, Michael Bradley played. Yeah, he definitely. That's exactly
not quite to this level, you would say.
No, not this good. But yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, he took the dropping back part of it a little too seriously. He'd come back farther than the defenders.
Just like I'll put the D in this.
Yeah. But to tell you how good this guy is, Rodri, the Ballon d'Or, which is what they name the best soccer player in the world every year, as you can guess, this position doesn't win it that often. It's usually an attacking player. This guy, Rodri, won it 2 years ago. And that was the first time since like 1990 or something that a number 6 defensive midfielder had won it. So that's how special he is at this position.
It's like the Travis Hunter Heisman.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, good call.
This is how I have to think about it like this, sir.
Yeah. All right, continuing on. Let's go ahead and get my second homer in here. One of our center mids is going to be Morgan Rogers. Aston Villa, attacking midfielder, plays for England. Should start for England. I hope he starts since he's making my all-star team. So he's not a huge name just because he plays for Villa. It's not one of the biggest name clubs in the world, so he's not going to get quite the fanfare as any of these other people. But I honest to God believe he is this good. When he's in form and he's hot, like he was a big chunk of the year this year, he can dribble around anybody. He can shoot from miles away. I mean, he's great and he's exciting. I mean, he's exactly what you want to watch in an attacking player. Goals from 20 yards out, 30 yards out, and dribbling around multiple defenders. Just a lot of fun to watch.
Is England supposed to have a good showing this time around? Because I know that I feel like that's always the story with them.
Yeah, that is always a huge story, and I feel like most U.S. fans, like probably because they're watching the Premier League and know a lot of the English players, that's kind of the second team that we keep up with, and then they always underachieve.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, you look at their roster; it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's just very, very good.
Would we have been better if we never had the Revolutionary War and we were still combined?
In this particular field, yeah, we'd probably be better.
The accents would be insane, though.
Yeah.
And the breakfasts.
Yes. All right, next midfielder, another attacking midfielder, is going to be a Frenchman playing in the Premier League, Ryan Cherki. They've got him listed as a right winger. I think of him more as an attacking mid. I think he's fine here. He is, I think he's 21 years old. We're going to go even younger than that here in a minute, but I think he's definitely our youngest player so far. He played in France last year. So wasn't a big name yet, but he went to Man City this year and had his worldwide coming out party showing the world how great he is. He is just he's a dribbler. I mean, he just dribbles around people, and he's a scorer. I mean, he does everything you want in an attacking player. And he's just got a lot of flair, a lot of creativity. The biggest Premier League game of the year this year, Man City versus Arsenal late in the year when they were, neck and neck for the title race. Man City won the game, would end up losing the title, but they won that game. And Arsenal has one of the best defenses in the world, and he just dribbled right through them like they didn't even lay a finger on him. And he just like casually rolled it into the net. One of the best goals I've seen all year. So, yeah, I've got Ryan Shirky.
The French, they're like in sports are really, they are a problem. Like I look at
soccer definitely. Yeah, that's true about like basketball too. They're getting
men and women's,
well.
like they are churning out like freakish athletes that should not even exist. Like I don't know what is going on over there. It's crazy.
Yeah, so the fact that we've only got one Frenchman in this all-star team, and spoiler alert, he will be the only Frenchman. That is kind of crazy because when you look at France's roster at this World Cup, they're the clear favorites. They won 2 World Cups ago, lost in the final on penalties in the most recent World Cup, and again, they're the favorites to win this one in my book.
Man, I don't know. I think we're gonna have a lot of problems with them in the next Summer Olympics too, basketball wise. That's gonna be tough. Which we are hosting in LA, so I don't know.
Yeah. Left wing, going back to Brazil. So Brazil does have one good attacking player at least. Vinicius Jr. plays for Brazil, plays for Real Madrid at the club level. Just exactly what you would think of as a winger. Got a lot of pace, can dribble around people, can score. He's decisive. He's he'll dribble by somebody and go. He he uses his pace well. Definitely he's my left winger, and oddly enough, one of the few great attacking Brazilian players, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, because again, that's what we think of. Is Brazil as a team? Are they supposed to be once again a favorite to win it? Or
they're up there. I mean, they're like 3rd or 4th favorite, somewhere in that range. But it's weird, like when you go through their roster, all of the players that you recognize, they've got a lot of attacking players that you recognize the names, but they're like old and kind of past their prime. And a lot of them went back to Brazil and they're playing back in the Brazilian league, which is good, but like not anywhere near like the Premier League quality. So I'm like, Paquetá played for West Ham. He's back in Brazil. Neymar's back in Brazil, and he's old now. Vinny Jr. is like the one that's playing at a big club still and is at the height of his powers.
Huh.
So right wing, don't even have to search for him. He's already up here. Lamine Yamal. So this guy is 18 years old.
Jeez.
He's not like just coming onto the scene. Like he was known about as a 16-year-old doing big things, but he is just, it's absurd how good he is at such a young age. Fox Sports put out their top 100 players at this World Cup, and I'm pretty sure they had him number 1, which is just crazy for an 18-year-old. He did suffer a pretty bad injury a couple months ago, so there was like a ton of concern about is he going to get to play, but I think he's set. I think he is good to play for this World Cup. I got a cool story about him, but before that, his style of play is he's more of a tricky kind of winger than Vinny Jr. is, like less pace, but a better dribbler probably, and he'll dribble kind of slowly and, take his time, but the defenders know they can't step to him because he'll just dribble around them, so they've got to kind of back off. And that's where he takes the opportunity to just take these beautiful shots from far out. And he's got just an incredible left foot. He starts on the right side. He curls in on his left foot, and he hits these big curling goals from outside of the box, and just incredible accuracy. Not a lot of power on the shots, but it's just so perfectly placed. And like I said, the defenders have to kind of back off and let him do it, because if they step to him, he just dribbles around them.
This sounds a lot like prime James Harden to me, especially a lefty too, just kind of lull you to sleep.
Yeah.
And then you can't really get up on him. Well, Harden would flop too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
18. That's insane. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
So the funny story about him, there was this image kind of resurfaced a year or so ago. You know how they christen babies? Like the Catholics, they do the christening?
Yeah.
So there was some kind of like christening type event kind of thing. I think it was for a calendar shoot, like a fan fair kind of thing in Barcelona 18 years ago. And Messi was holding baby Lamine Yamal at this christening thing. So that, again, I mean, obviously Messi played for Barcelona, came up through the Barcelona system as Lamine Yamal did. So just a weird coincidence to begin with. So they, the comments got going online when this resurfaced. Messi blessed Yamal, right? He bestowed his powers upon him as a baby. Lamine Yamal's dad commented and said, Yamal is the one who blessed Messi. Maybe that is why Messi was good. Maybe Yamal's the one.
That's great. I love this LeVar Ball-esque quote from this man.
So, Yamal, make sure you watch him in the group stages, because Spain they're going to score a lot of goals in the groups. They're playing 2 games here in Atlanta. I'm going to go to one of them. They're playing Cape Verde. So they'll probably score 15 goals in that game. Like, I'm not even kidding. And then they play Saudi Arabia. So Yamal's going to get a lot of goals in the group stage, probably.
I'll be on the lookout for that, and his dad.
And our last player in the starting lineup, the Norwegian from Man City, Erling Haaland. So this was a very good debate here between him and Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe now plays for Real Madrid, plays for France, obviously. One of the main things that made me lean toward Haaland, and this is just not fair at all to Mbappe, but, we're splitting hairs here. Mbappe was on PSG, did not win the Champions League. As soon as he left, they win 2 in a row. And he goes to Real Madrid, who was winning Champions Leagues before he got there, and then hasn't won one since they got him. Now, obviously, there's no way you can say a team got worse by acquiring Mbappe or they got better by losing him. But, there is something to be said for the fact that he's just on the wrong end of these Champions League titles lately. Erling Haaland, on the other hand, he did get his Champions League title 2 or 3 years ago when they beat Inter Milan.
Looks like a Game of Thrones character.
Yeah.
And going back to Mbappe, what's his deal, I guess is the question, because I know, I love watching him. One of my favorite players to watch, maybe my favorite player to watch. But I feel like I only see stories about him where he is irritating someone, whether it's like his own manager or something. I feel like is he like a tough teammate? Like, what's going on?
I don't know. I've never heard that. I mean, his dad, I found out the day his dad was a coach. I don't know if that tells you anything. Usually those guys are thought of as like, good teammate kind of guys. But his dad coached him and his brother coming up. I don't know. He always looks like a good dude to me. He looks always happy and having fun out there. It's hard for me to imagine him being like a bad teammate, you know.
Yeah, I think there's something. There was, I think his manager, the most recent story I'm thinking of, I think he like maybe questioned his fitness
Ah,
at some point, and I don't know. I feel like I've heard stories about like his mom is kind of acts as his agent, and across all sports, no one seems to like that when your family is too involved.
yeah,
But I don't know how is that good or bad. Who's to say? But I feel like he's not, I guess, as celebrated as I would think a guy as talented as he is would be. And then you
right.
add in this stuff where, you're leaving teams and they're winning, which clearly we're looking at all these players on the field, not his fault, like you were saying. But I don't know. I'm just trying to get the lay of the land when it comes to Kylian Mbappe. I
Yeah,
mean, it doesn't happen internationally because France, like you're saying, favorites, they've won with him almost. I mean, that performance last World Cup in the
yeah,
final, oh my
yeah.
goodness.
He was unbelievable, and won the previous World Cup when he
Yeah.
was. I guess he might have been 18 years old at that time when he won the first one.
Yeah. So, just interesting. But yeah,
Yeah,
Holland. Yeah.
Holland's yes, they're very different players, him and Holland. So that makes the debate fun as well because Mbappe is more of like the modern striker. They're more about pace, more about dribbling, more well-rounded offensive game, less size and strength, which is kind of the classic striker traits. You think of a guy pushing guys over and going and winning a header, like your classic striker. That's what Holland does. He is a big, physical, strong guy that's also really fast and can also do the other stuff too. But he's more of a blend of all of the striker traits that you can have.
Interesting. Okay. So we have our team here, which looks pretty good. I would hire you to manage my team. And now we're going to fill out the bench with some legends who are presumably playing in their final World Cup, correct?
Yes. So that's what's so interesting about this World Cup. I feel like in most World Cups, if there were this many players that are generational talent, all time greats, playing in their last World Cup, that would be the story. And it's just not. Like, I haven't heard anybody talking about this, which that tells you how good the young, middle of their career players are that are getting all the focus. But yes, we have a ton of. I couldn't believe it as I went through. There's the obvious names, but then there's so many that are just probably playing in their last cup that are legends. And obviously, the greatest soccer player to ever play is one of them, Lionel Messi. He's still good enough that you could probably make a case for him to be starting out here, but without a doubt, he makes the legends bench. Argentina won a ton of trophies at the club level, played for Barcelona, PSG, plays for Inter Miami now, so he's doing his retirement run in the MLS, as so many of them do. But he, throughout his career, he was dogged by the fact that he could never win with Argentina. So even though he had won all these trophies at the club level, he still had the "are you clutch" kind of argument against him. Finally, thank God, got his World Cup title for Argentina last World Cup and goes into this one as the defending champions. Still one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, that was his "this is for Cleveland" LeBron moment. Yeah, I was. First of all, I read I guess he's dealing with a hamstring thing too, which is funny because the reason for his career, Lamine Yamal, that was his injury too. So a couple of hamstrings there, between those two. And I also read a really interesting story about soccer culture in Argentina, which, as you would imagine, they love it, but it's important, particularly with their economy, because you can make money playing at the amateur level, enough money to like get by as like a
Okay.
second job. So
Yeah.
like it's very competitive at the amateur, semi-pro, I guess, level just to survive. And
Yeah.
like that was just interesting to me. Like it's a way of life and also a way of survival.
That's how you breed a good soccer culture. I
Yes.
mean, no question about that.
Is that what Trump's doing here? Where he's like, I'm gonna make everyone poor so we're great at sports again.
Yeah. That one, this was a long time ago, but ESPN did like a huge in-depth article, like where they ranked every country based on like their soccer potential, I guess. And they had like factors of like how good the domestic league is, how good, how much fans care about soccer. They're just all the things you would think of to make a great soccer nation so that you could predict, are they going to be good at the World Cup? One of their factors was like poverty or economic concerns being it's better to be poor.
I would
Over
imagine.
here, most of our kids, like like shit, when baseball got too hard for me, I fucking quit. But if that was my only way to eat, I wouldn't have quit. So like there's something to that of like, this is my only chance to have a life. See, I kind of can't give it up when I'm 15 and it gets hard,
Yeah, I'll just go work in corporate America or corporate Argentina. They're like, wait, no. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Be on the lookout for all these U.S. athletes here pretty shortly because we're coming back.
Yeah. All right, let's go with the other obvious all-time great, Cristiano Ronaldo. He plays in Saudi Arabia now in front of 50 fans, upwards of. And I don't know what he's doing now. I don't give a shit about the Saudi league. But he's getting paid more than he's ever been paid before. I do know that. But obviously he's an all-time great player. I don't have any – there's no debate to me between him and Messi. Like, who's better? To me, it's clearly Messi. But he is one of the best of he's probably the second best of our lifetimes.
I wish he had decided to play when we went to the game in Atlanta. But
yeah, there was a lot of Ronaldo jerseys. There was a lot of people wanting him to play.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's because we aren't, as a country, like super passionate soccer fans, and there's so many different leagues to pay attention to. But I feel like it is funny how often you will see soccer players at the end of their career just completely sell out.
Yeah.
And you don't hear a ton of criticism about it. It's just kind of the nature of the sport. But that probably has more to do with the fact that we don't cover it as intently as we do other sports over here. Because, like, yeah, I mean, we've got like LeBron. Is he worth a max contract this summer in free agency coming up? Even though he's still a good player, but it's like, is he being greedy? What's the deal there? You don't really hear that.
No,
Ronaldo can just go play in front of dozens and make $250 million to do so, and it's okay.
Yeah, and I don't blame the players when they do that. Like, I lose respect, or not even like that. I don't follow them anymore because they go to a dog shit league. I don't care what you do in that league, but I don't blame them. I mean, like, if I was offered that, I would go play over there for, like, I wouldn't give my whole career to it, but I'd go play a year or two and make $1 billion. Of course, like, why would you not?
Yeah, and I guess it plays into, like, there are so many different ways to put together a soccer legacy, like whether it's internationally at the club level, and then when you're like done doing it, then
who's done it?
We're just gonna go play for Inter Miami and we'll just do whatever. So that is always fun to see because he has disappeared, and that's why, because he wanted to go make even more money than he already had, and it's just funny because you're like, what happened to Ronaldo? Oh well, who's he, like Scrooge McDuck, just swimming in money or whatever.
So going back to Mbappe, he famously turned down a huge amount of money. This was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, So right, it would have been, he's 27 now, so we're talking mid 20s, the dead prime of his career. One of the Saudi clubs, I'm pretty sure they were going to pay him $1 billion to play 1 year. And he didn't do it. Like, I would have done that shit. And just do it 1 year, then come right back, pick up where you left off in the real European League and build your legacy. But he turned it down. He wouldn't do it.
There should be no negative articles about this man. Now, this is why I'm so sensitive to his public image. Incredible. $1 billion for a year.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, yeah.
Whew. Yeah, y'all would see me next year.
All right, so let's go. Let's get us a goalkeeper in here. There he is. Manuel Neuer. He is 40 years old. He was not supposed to maybe even make the World Cup squad, but he certainly wasn't supposed to be the starter at this World Cup. He's one of the greatest keepers of all time for Germany, and he's had some great times with Germany in the World Cup and on the international stage. But he's clearly past his prime. Clearly, Germany had another number one, but that guy got hurt, and I believe they're going with Neuer as their starting goalkeeper this World Cup. Are you familiar with him? Do you know anything about him?
I know his name. His name is familiar to me, and that is about it.
So he's as entertaining as Emi Martinez is on or off the field. Neuer is that level of entertainment on the field because he plays the position like a midfielder. Like he'll be all the way up at the halfway line sometimes. It's insane how far he comes out of his goal to collect the ball and just play as a midfielder essentially.
I know a man who did this.
Yeah.
Landon High School, Petey inhabited.
Yes. Neuer is less concerned with killing an opposing player as he is keeping possession for his team.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with his channel, you know Petey, and Petey played defensive end in high school football, and he also played goalie as defensive end.
Yep.
So, God bless him. All right, that's all you had to. If you know, all you had to say is he's the Petey inhabitant of this World Cup. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'll definitely be locked in now.
All right, next, let's go. N'Golo Kante. There he is. France defensive mid. So everything we said about Rodri, that position, N'Golo Kante is maybe in our lifetimes one of the, if not the best player at that position. Really small guy, like really small for that position, doesn't provide a lot of physicality with the defense, but he's always just been so smart with reading the game, knowing where to be, intercepting passes. He's fast, so he covers a lot of ground. The World Cup that we keep alluding to that France won 2 World Cups ago, he was one of the most important players there. Him and Paul Pogba formed one of the best center midfield pairings probably ever seen at the World Cup. Pogba being the more offensive-minded guy and then Conte giving him cover defensively. Conte's probably not going to start for France at this World Cup. He's on the back end of his career. He's playing in Turkey now, but I'm not seeing anybody mention the fact that this is his last World Cup, so I've definitely got to give him a shout-out because he's one of my favorites of all time.
Is that like a virtue of the position that he plays? Because thinking about myself as like a casual fan, the names I recognize are always going to be attackers or goalies. Like in the middle, whether it's defenders or midfield, those are less familiar to me. Is that kind of like why people are just like shrugging that off?
It's that, and it's like the style of play too. It's like a center midfield can be a famous player just depending on their style, like David Beckham.
Yeah,
he played center mid. But it needs to be an offensive-minded center midfielder. So you're pointing to these incredible passes that they made, which my next player will do this. Conte has just always been more about the work hard defensively, be smart defensively, intercept balls. So yeah, certainly not flashy. And his personality too is just no flash. He has fun playing. He's always got a smile on his face kind of guy, but he's just very quiet, unlike I mentioned Paul Pogba. You remember how Pogba always had the different hair, like he had different hair color every single game.
Yes.
Never quite lived up to the hype, except for that World Cup when he was one of the best players in the world at that particular one. But yeah, truly one of the most interesting and fun and good center back pairings ever, them two together.
All right.
All right. So speaking of a more exciting player that plays the exact same position but plays it in a very different way, Luka Modric. He's 40 years old, I'm pretty sure, 41 maybe. Plays the same position that we just talked about, but is much more focused on the creative playmaking aspect of it. So he's making these long passes from deep in his defensive end and just so creative. He'll make just 40-yard passes with the outside of his foot. He's so much fun to watch. Just an artist. And he's had an amazing career both at the international and the club stage. Played for Real Madrid. Croatia is his national team. I imagine he's still going to start for them. I mean, they're really good, but he's still good enough that he should probably be starting for them.
That's funny off the back of the previous conversation because I've heard of Conte as well, but I definitely am more familiar with Modric, and that's probably because he plays a more flashy offensive style.
Yep. All right, now let's go Mohamed Salah. All right, so he's a winger. So basically, you can say he plays the same position as Lamine Yamal. Fairly similar too. He plays the right side, cuts in on his left foot, and has a very good shot with his left foot. Played for Liverpool for years and just became a legend there, helping them win the title in the Premier League. Plays for Egypt now. He has been a player that forever, because Egypt usually makes the World Cup, usually don't do very well in it, but they usually make it, and everybody is just dying to watch Mo Salah play for Egypt. And he always is hurt or something's wrong. And like I'm pretty sure this is the first World Cup he's actually going to get to play in. And it's probably his last.
Wow.
So, between them not always qualifying and him being hurt or having something wrong, this is something that like soccer fans have been waiting on for 20 years probably. And we're finally going to get to see it, hopefully. I hope he doesn't get hurt somehow in the next week.
That would be, oh my gosh, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
Getting out of the shower and that's it.
Yep.
Whew.
And let's see, got room for one more, and he's not going to come up, but you see his name, Neymar. Let's mention Neymar. I think just this thing doesn't have Brazilian league players. But anyway, Neymar will fill out our final bench spot. I need to get back to it. So Neymar's 34, so not like ancient, but he was very likely not to make this World Cup. Like, it was surprised when he was named to the roster. So I'm going to assume he's not going to pull it out of his ass again when he's 38. But he's one of the best attacking players of our lifetimes, honestly. Just super creative, super good dribbler. One of the great floppers of all time, if you're into that sort of thing. And speaking of $1 billion, he just inherited $1 billion from a random businessman in Brazil that he didn't even know.
This is the craziest story in the world to me, and it made me insanely jealous. If you are watching this and you are a billionaire and you're planning on dying. You don't even have to put me in your will for the full billion. Just a little bit here or there. I need it more than Neymar, I'm guessing.
That's safe to say, yeah. That's one of the weirdest stories I've ever read. And it's a young guy. It's like a 30-year-old billionaire who's apparently dying soon. He's got something wrong with him. He's anonymous, so we don't even know who or what the problem is. But yeah, he just named Neymar in his will for $1 billion, mainly citing the fact that he has a good relationship with his dad.
Oh, well, that's why I didn't get named.
Yeah.
All right. My apologies to Neymar.
To be fair to Neymar, he always has the Neymar Jr. He's one of the juniors that you don't know who the dad is. Like, you know what I mean? In terms of like Ken Griffey Jr., we knew who your dad was. Your dad was good too. But there's a lot of guys who wear the junior, but their dad wasn't prominent.
Man, so, all right. I see where I went wrong then. Okay. Well, shit. You would think there'd be a better use for that money, but who am I? Whatever. I'm going to hold out hope that eventually that'll come back around to me at some point. But yeah, that is a ton of huge names who we will be seeing for the last time. So there's really no excuse not. You gotta tap into a couple games here.
Oh yeah.
Good Lord, but between
and it's all going to be watchable times too. Like normally, with these things, it's like 4 a.m. and shit. This is there's a lot of games at noon. I don't know why they're doing that, but most of the games are like 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It's like all after work hours, still awake hours.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's good because you were right. Because what was it? Qatar last time. And that was just.
And they played that in November because it was too hot to play it in the summer.
It was really weird. Like in the middle of college football season to be caring about. Yeah. I feel like the final was in December.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Man, yeah, that was weird. But yeah, this is because I do associate it. It's supposed to be a summer thing. So now this is going to be good. Any more comments about the world prospects for the non-U.S. teams before we get into that? Just a heads up for those of you watching and listening too. I will split this into 2 parts. So you will have to come back for part 2 to hear about the United States, their roster, our analysis about them. But any closing thoughts on the world contenders here in the World Cup?
It's going to be a great tournament. France is the favorite, but it's not a wide margin. The defending champs, Argentina, are still there. Spain might actually be the favorite on the betting lines. Brazil's right there. I mean, there's a lot of teams that can win it. There's a lot of superstar players, as we just talked about. There's a lot of legends that are still going to play. I mean, this is one of the best World Cups we've seen going into it.
Well, I agree because this is exciting. This is we did good with the last preview too, but there's just a ton to keep track of. So hopefully we have helped you keep track of that. And now we will move on to part 2.